For 3 years, Adelaide Cottage was their refuge. Tucked away in the home park of Windsor Castle, the modest 4-bedroom residence had become the carefully guarded sanctuary of the Prince and Princess of Wales. A place chosen not for grandeur, but for peace. For raising their children away from the flashbulbs and fanfare. For being, as much as they could ever be, simply a family. But now, something is changing. Reports have surfaced that Prince William and Princess Catherine are preparing to leave Adelaide Cottage behind. Not for London. Not for Scotland. But for Fort Belvedere, a royal estate with a dark legacy, a controversial past, and perhaps a powerful future. This is not just a change of address. This is a shift in position. And it speaks volumes. Fort Belvedere is no ordinary property. Nestled deep in Windsor Great Park, the sprawling 8-bedroom Gothic Revival mansion is as beautiful as it is infamous. It was here, in 1936, that King Edward VIII signed his abdication papers, choosing love over duty, and in doing so, appending the British monarchy forever. The echoes of that moment still haunt the estate's hallways. But for William and Catherine, the past is only part of the story. Today, Fort Belvedere offers far more than a historical footnote. It boasts tennis courts, stables, a private lake, staff cottages, a rose garden, and enough privacy to keep the press at bay. It is a fortress, a playground, and, if the reports are true, the perfect headquarters for a modern royal family on the rise. They feel they've outgrown Adelaide Cottage, one insider told the Daily Mail. They need somewhere more substantial. This is the perfect new home for them. That one sentence says so much, and leaves even more unsaid. Adelaide Cottage was the perfect retreat for young children, for a couple building a bubble of normalcy. But now, George is 11. Charlotte is 10. Louis is 6. The Wales children are growing, and so are their roles. What once served as a shield may now feel too small, too narrow, too modest for the weight of what's coming. And what is coming is a future that cannot be hidden behind hedges. Take Princess Charlotte, for example. She's reportedly fallen in love with tennis. She's even received private lessons from Emma Raducanu. Fort Belvedere has its own tennis court. For most families, that might be a luxury. For this one, it's strategy. Because everything William and Catherine do, every move, every trip, every photograph, is about balancing two things: the image of normalcy, and the reality of royal preparation. And the image is carefully curated. July was a masterclass in that balance. From their warm, playful appearances at Wimbledon and the Women's Euros to their polished diplomacy during the French state visit, the Wales family showed both their humanity and their heritage. And behind it all, a quiet message was emerging: they are stepping forward. More visible. More involved. More central to the story of the crown. So what does Fort Belvedere really represent? Space, yes. Privacy, of course. But also symbolism. Because Fort Belvedere, for all its complicated history, is not just a home, it's a statement. It's far from London, far from palace walls, yet close to Windsor, the emotional heart of the monarchy. It's expansive, serene, and strategically secluded. And it gives the Wales family something they've always needed, but rarely had: room to grow, privately, while the world watches publicly. Insiders suggest that if they do move in, renovations may modernize not only the interiors, but the very use of the estate. Meeting rooms, security upgrades, a media wing, not for the press, but for strategic communication. It would be more than a house. It would be a command center. It also allows them to keep distance from Royal Lodge, still occupied by Prince Andrew, whose refusal to vacate the 30-room mansion has stirred frustration inside and outside the palace. A potential public confrontation with Andrew might be politically damaging. By choosing Fort Belvedere, William and Catherine sidestep controversy and signal that they are not looking to fight for turf. They are focused on function. This isn't the first time a young royal couple has wrestled with questions of space and image. In the early 1980s, Prince Charles and Princess Diana famously struggled to find a home that matched their public roles and private needs. Highgrove was chosen, in part, because it offered seclusion. But it never offered peace. The pressures of public expectation, internal palace politics, and personal tension ultimately proved overwhelming. William, who lived through the fallout of that era, has taken a different path. Every home he's chosen with Catherine has reflected intentional restraint, not too lavish, not too exposed. The move to Fort Belvedere would mark a turning point, not just a retreat from modesty, but an embrace of responsibility. At the same time, comparisons with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are inevitable, and quietly telling. While the Sussexes left for California to carve their own path, William and Catherine have stayed, adapted, evolved, not outside the monarchy, but within it. And Fort Belvedere, a place once associated with royal rebellion, may now become the headquarters of royal continuity. It also adds another gem to their already glittering property portfolio. In addition to Adelaide Cottage and their formal base at Kensington Palace, William and Catherine still have access to Anmer Hall, their country estate in Norfolk, a wedding gift from Queen Elizabeth. They also occasionally use properties in Scotland and Wales, each with their own royal history and personal significance. Critics may point to this growing collection of royal residences and ask, how much is too much? But insiders argue that each home serves a purpose. Proximity to duties. Quiet for the children. Connection to regions of the UK. And above all, the ability to operate and live as a family with one foot in tradition and one foot in tomorrow. Because this is no longer a couple simply waiting to inherit. They are living the role now. And as King Charles continues his cancer treatment, and as the rhythm of royal life adapts to the unknown, William and Catherine's visibility is no accident. Their July rewind, their social media updates, their growing press presence, all point to a family preparing for the inevitable. They are stepping forward not with declarations, but with motion. Not with proclamations, but with presence. And Fort Belvedere may well be the next step in that motion. Because it's not just a place to raise children. It's a place to project stability. To host meetings. To run operations. To build a base of leadership outside the palace machine. Think of it not just as a home, but as a royal headquarters for the next era. It's also a symbolic reclaiming. Where once a king abdicated, walked away from the throne, another future king may now choose to build something enduring. Where once duty was abandoned for love, William and Catherine are proving the two can coexist. And in doing so, they are rewriting what royal responsibility looks like. This is how the monarchy evolves, not through revolution, but through carefully calibrated choices. Fort Belvedere is part of that calibration. It keeps the family close to Windsor, to King Charles, and to the spiritual heart of the monarchy. But it also gives them something no palace can offer: space to breathe, think, and lead on their own terms. And perhaps that's the quiet genius of this couple. They move slowly, deliberately. They don't stir the water, but they change the current. Where others demand attention, they build it quietly. Where others provoke, they prepare. And that preparation is now entering a new phase. Whether or not the move is finalized, one thing is already clear: the Wales family is not retreating. They are repositioning. Not just for comfort, but for the crown. And if they do settle at Fort Belvedere, it won't be a coincidence. It will be a chapter, quietly written, but impossible to ignore, in the unfolding story of the next King and Queen of the United Kingdom.